Our next guest says the trade war won't be resolved anytime soon, and businesses should buckle up and prepare for worst-case scenarios. Dennis Unkovic is senior partner at Meyer Unkovic and Scott. He advises executives and government leaders all over the world and is author of The Fragility of China. Dennis, you're putting this concern back in people's minds. I'm sure they'd like to say, maybe it's going away. We don't have to worry about it.
Well, Kelly, I'm not sure it ever really disappeared. I think there's been a lot, distracting us over the last 30 days. But the U.S. China relationship is not going to get appreciably better in the short run. And I think there are a lot of reasons why.
Okay, and talk about that.
The Chinese have, I think, a secret weapon. By that, I mean they have what are called rare earth minerals or rare earth elements. They're really not rare. They're around the world, but 80 to 90% of these things are used in all kinds of technologies. And the Chinese are the ones who are responsible for refining them. Although we, as the U.S. under Biden and currently under Trump, are limiting the sale of chips around the world to Chinese entities, the real key is what goes into them. And the Chinese have not yet played this card, but at this point, they're slow walking licenses to get them out. And I think in the long run, this is what China is going to do to put pressure on the U.S. and Trump.
Okay. So if you're a company who has to, maybe your supply chain, there's, different levels of exposure here. There's many companies just trying to source product. There's a lot of them who are, have more substantial business at stake. What's your advice to them?
At the 30,000-foot level, I think you have to take companies at the C level, the CEO and the board of directors to make this the number one priority that those companies do. There are a lot of companies who have people doing their global supply chain work. They're good, they're hardworking, but this is a new world. So I think you have to seriously take a look at the fact of where are you in the supply chain? And finally, we talk returning to rare earth metals again. You may not in your company need rare earth metals for what you are doing, but you may have products that include them. And these are the kind of things that I think are very, very concerning in the long run to companies. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, I don't think that a lot of CEOs and boards have given this the proper attention that it deserves.
Dennis, it's Dom. One of the things I've heard some more chatter and talk about amongst people I talk to is the second, third, fourth order derivative effects of what's happening right now, in that China and U.S. in a trade war is now spilling over into maybe this idea that countries around the world almost have to take sides from a hegemonistic point of view, to either side with China or side with the U.S. What exactly does that mean for many of these companies around the world who are trying not just to navigate their own country's governments, but now also this kind of dual-sided kind of approach to what's happening with global trade?
Dom, I think the world is moving toward a two-technology world. We have basically 70% of the technology now is Western-based, 30 to 35% is Chinese. Xi Jinping has been pushing really since 2013 to develop Chinese technologies. Your question goes exactly to what I think the problem is. Eventually, a company is going to have to decide, do you want to sell your products to this part of the world or the other part of the world? That's why I see, as in response to Kelly's earlier question, that there's not going to be an immediate coming together of China and the United States, because I don't think China wants that. And President Trump saying you have to do this or else won't play well with the Chinese.